So today I'm going to show you my makeup kit, and I'm actually getting ready to go away to LA to do a beauty shoot. So I've kind of had to reduce my kit fairly significantly because obviously traveling with a lot of stuff is a nightmare. So I'm going to work my way through my kit from skin to face to lips to eyes to finishing touches. So I'll start with skin. The first thing every makeup artist has is her well, I normally use Bioderma, but this is La Roche-Posay, which is just as good, and it's kind of like a micellar water. So I'd use this just to prep my model's faces first, and it's also great for doing kind of like fine removal work. So tidying up eyeliner, tidying up lipsticks, anything, this is the magic water. When I prep, or rather after I prep the skin with something like Bioderma, I will obviously ask my client what her skin type is like, if it's dry, if it's oily, and that will determine the kind of cream and products that I use on her face. It's always a really good thing to try and exfoliate your client's skin if you can. I have things like these little lip exfoliation tools, and they're like double-sided, microfine, and then just like bumpy, and they're really good to use with a lip exfoliant, and I'm using a coconut one at the moment, which is really nice, just sugar and coconut, and you just exfoliate your lips, and you can exfoliate the sides of your nose and anywhere else because it's all like organic and whatever. My first choice of cream, especially for lighter skin tones, would be this Avene, because it has this really great kind of pearlescent finish to it. And then if I'm working with darker skin tones, sometimes you can get very dry darker skin, you can get oily, so I'll either use a MAC Complete Comfort Cream, which is really good because it's quite rich, or I might use something like The Ordinary, which is like just a balancing moisturizing cream, really simple, don't want to overdo it, or something like a barrier repair cream from Dermalogica if they've got super kind of dry skin that needs a bit of TLC. Then I have all of these, which are like my little lip balm collection. I also, if I'm working with darker skin tones, actually love this NARS because it has a really beautiful kind of shimmery pigment in it, and it can make darker skin tones just like amazing. What else? I've got double-sided tape, and then I've got other bits and pieces. I've got a mixing medium in here, which is really handy if you're mixing pigments. Always have a mixing medium with you. Prick stick for eyebrows. My friend Adam de Cruz has this really amazing moisturizer, and that's also a really great comforting moisturizer, so I keep that in my kit as well. Eye drops, blah blah blah, Q-tips. So then moving on to skin, and eyelash curlers, obviously, because they're really important. And then moving on to skin, shove that out of the way. This bag has everything skin and face. So I'll start with foundations. I have loads of different types of foundations, obviously depending on what you want to achieve. I will start with Dewy. MAC Face and Body really is like an industry staple, an industry icon. It's called MAC Face and Body for a reason. If you're doing legs and arms and bodies, it's just a really good all-over thing that just kind of blurs and perfects. Getting a little bit heavier with the coverage, I have some Shiseido. Then I've got some more MAC here. Selena Gomez is actually my new favorite. She has a really amazing shade range. Everything from kind of quite warm, darker skin tones to much more like yellow olivey. I have Burberry in here, so these are the matte glow foundations. They've got matte glow and they've got fresh glow. So these are a bit heavier coverage, the matte glow foundations. The fresh glow are a little bit softer. And then finally I have some concealers. So these are my MAC concealers, and they are just amazing for things like eyebrow coverage, for like intense kind of full-on makeup contouring. They're really great for tattoo cover-up. They're really great for colouring prosthetics because they're so thick. Then I've got my sort of industry standard Bobbi Brown palette. And then I've also created my own little palette. So I have these dark and light foundations here, just some of my favourite pan stick foundations. And then this is just full of Fenty concealer. A little bit of orange for beard and eyebrow cover. I have everything up here which is kind of skin touch-up. So I've got everything from proper concealer, heavy concealer sticks, to this kind of light reflective under eye concealer stick, to microfine mini concealer sticks. And then I have some lip glosses in there so that I don't forget about lips, because sometimes that happens. So that is my foundation and face. This palette, I'm calling it a palette, this big bag, is kind of the post face. So this is all about colouring, it's all about highlighting, it's all about sculpting and like perfecting and finishing the face. So where do I start? So I have some contour palettes. These are like really great because again they offer quite a large kind of shade range. These guys are MAC. Some Fenty highlighters in here which are really nice. I've just decanted them and put them into this little palette-y thing, and they're kind of nice coppers and warm tones. Two different Burberry highlighting palettes here. So I've got the darker tone highlight palette, and then I've got the lighter one here, glossier palettes as well if I want more of like a dewy contour finish. And then I just built my own palette. So I get all of my lipsticks decanted into these palettes here. So I've got my corals and nudes, I've got my reds, I've got my burgundies and blues and purples, and then I've got some colour palettes. So I've got my serious colour palette, a lot of that's probably Kryolan I imagine, and then I've got coppers and golds, again more Kryolan, more Meron, more Ben NYE, some silvers in there, and then I've got my Byredo colour sticks, so they're all on their own in just one pot, and then I've got some really nice Fenty colours here which are like really beautiful, kind of like highlight shimmery as well, so they're really nice. I've got my powder blushes, and then I've got various different pressed powders for different skin tones. I've got the darker, the banana, I've got just general pressed powder. So here I have my mascara and eyebrows. So I've got toothbrush for eyebrow brushing, also for like splattering prosthetics. And then I have these mini skinny eyebrow mascaras. Got a few of them, blonde to brown. And then I have on this side the liners. So I've got, I mean this is honestly one of my favourite liners ever, the Burberry Cat Liner, because you have this very good, clean and easy eyeliner, and then on the other end you've got this like smudgy gold thing, so you can kind of like smudge the line out and make it all nice and kind of shimmery and whatever. My favourite thing ever, which as you can see is, I love it so much, it's completely dying in its body, but I refuse to throw it away, is my Anastasia Beverly Hills brow, but I call it like brow and sculpting because I use it to contour as well. Moving on, I have some more lips. I've got a big bag of liquid lips, and in here I have everything from metallics. I've got loads of like metallic and shimmer in here. I've got all of my liquid reds, ranging from like dark burgundy reds to really bright reds. And I have my bag of liquid nudes. And then I have these which are really helpful. So these are like lip paints, and I've got a load of matte lip paints and also obsessive compulsive. And then I have my eye palette. So here's my eyeshadow palette. And I have everything from Lady Gaga house slabs to what else? Some of my favourite. I love Huda. She does these really great little palettes that are all kind of like colour coded. So I've got like all the Huda Obsessions in here, the purples, the orange, and they're really helpful because it keeps it very kind of like colour oriented. Oh look, these are those matte ones. So these are like the eye version. So they're the like kind of greasy. Love these so much. So underrated. Like really nice, greasy, gorgeous, painty stuff. Then love a bit of Too Faced. Actually, Too Faced is pretty good too. Here are some shimmery things. It's a nice little palette. And then obviously I have Byredo. Got the Prismic palette in there. All of those colours, bright colours. Big bag of eyelashes. I've got some really massive eyelashes in here somewhere that are like this long. And then I've also got like individuals and delicate things. So eyelashes are totally covered. Sponges, obviously. Eyebrow bleaching kit. Very important. Couldn't go anywhere without it. A 3, a 6 and a 9% peroxide. And then my favourite thing to use is this, which is this Weller Soft Blonde. And it's like a bleach powder but in a liquid form, so you don't get like, you know, powder spillage everywhere. And it's just, you just squeeze a bit out and then you mix it with your peroxide and it's really handy. And then I have some eyebrow toners as well. You can't leave your eyebrows raw bleach, so I've got everything in here from a straightforward 8 to a 1003. I've got a 9.6, and then I've got some stuff to like dye the brows back to black or brown or blonde or whatever. So now this side of my kit is the kind of extra things that I will take with me if I'm traveling. So I will take this body palette, which is really great. I mean, I have loads of these palettes. They're all alcohol activated. So I've got everything from like a tattoo palette to a full metal metallics palette to just a general, actually that's another tattoo palette, but like skin tone palette. So as well, if you're covering prosthetics, these are really great palettes to have because they stay firmly in place. My airbrush. So I've gone through about a million airbrushes because they're constantly breaking when I fly. But this one seemed to survive. And this is a little Kryolan airbrush. It's this big, so it's incredibly handy to have in your bag. I used to have one of those big Iwata ones, but you just can't travel with them. It's too heavy and always break. My airbrush gun in here, I've got a couple of them. And here I have bags and bags and bags of just like loose pigment. So when I can't find a kind of, you know, a colour in somewhere else, I can just take one of these and like mix it myself. Another little bag of glitters. And then this bag, which is basically packed full of Swarovski crystals. And then finally, I just have my little tiny mini special effects bag, which is mostly glue. So I have this, which is like an ultimate skin shield. So if you're gonna do loads of paint or whatever, you put skin shield on first, and that will save your model's skin a little bit, and hopefully you won't get too much staining. So I always prep the skin with a bit of that, a bit like whipped cream. Glue. So I've got Prosade cream, which is obviously great for applying prosthetics, for building things up. You can put it in your eyebrows to conceal them, like a more watery version of Prosade. And then I've got a water-based and a Pro Spirit gum. So that's for like heavier sticking, even wigs, or like anything really that's a bit more heavy. Got a nice big pot of wax here for sculpting things, and you can put it in eyebrows, you can make noses out of it, you can make scars, you can do whatever you want with it. Some glycerin for like fake tears and sweat. If you mix glycerin and water in a little spray bottle and you spray it on your face, you'll have really perfect sweat. And some remover. And then other than proper face paints, which I have in a different kit, that is basically my travel bag. So hope you enjoyed that little video. Now you know what I have. Let me know if you have any questions about products, what I like to use and what I would recommend you to use. And I hope that's helped you when you travel abroad with your makeup kit. See you next week. Don't forget to subscribe.